I'd like you to join me at a dance hall in a place called La Villa Borghese in Melbourne, Australia, and it's the 1970s. I'm 6 years old, and my father's on stage, and he's with his band doing the last of his sound checks before he goes on to perform. Now, I'm sitting there perched on the corner of his stage, and I'm looking up at these 4 big giants wearing matching shiny silver suits. In front of me is this vast, expansive dance floor, and beyond that is an audience, and they're all sitting at tables. Now, I suddenly become immersed in this cacophony of different sounds, and I'm hearing people's conversations overlapping other people's conversations, and random outbursts of laughter, and the clanking of dinnerware and glassware as people are dining. Suddenly, my attention is drawn back to the stage. My father has just strummed the first chord of his song and begun to sing, and the room transforms. I'm looking at this going, wow. There is a mass exodus of people at the tables, and they are running to the dance floor, and they're singing and dancing, and they're going wild. And as a 6-year-old, I'm looking at this thinking, my only explanation would be that my father must have had some ability to turn the music into magic, like a magician. Well, from that moment, I knew that I wanted to do that one day and make magic with music. Once I made up my mind, it appeared that magic had heard me, and several times throughout my life, it appeared. It became my best friend, my most loyal ally, and it rescued me when I needed it the most. I struggled a lot with the feeling of belonging and not fitting in at a young age. I was born in Hong Kong to Italian parents, and we immigrated to Australia in the 60s. Now, I love the way that music came up in our family life. I love the way that I learnt about my culture through the Italian songs that my parents would sing. And I love the way that it brought home the bacon, or la pancetta, as we say in Italian. And I just love the way that when friends would come over, Dad would bring out the guitar and he'd sing and play the piano. But the thing is, growing up in Australia as 4 Italian immigrants had its challenges. My family and I experienced racism to different degrees. Many Australians didn't do too well with different, and it was a bit of a challenge. You see, we wore different clothes, we ate different food, and we spoke a different language. And that was a hard one, was the language, because my parents would speak Italian very loudly, with a lot of emotion, and they would put their whole body into it. I had 2 names growing up, Laura and Laura. My full birth name is Laura Carlotta Guglielmina Santoni. Once that got out at school, my Aussie mates had a field day. But the thing is, there was only one place where this feeling of not belonging didn't get to me. And all I had to do was sing or imagine myself in my living room, pretending I'm in one of my favorite musicals, or having friends over and we'd be pretending to be ABBA, or rehearsing in my first garage band. For some reason, in those moments I felt I belonged. Time stood still, and I felt connected to everybody around me, and that felt like magic. By the time I was a young adult, I was very well rehearsed in being a chameleon and giving people what they want, and at all costs, avoid confrontation. But the cost of that was my authenticity, and I lost touch with what I wanted in life and who I was. At the age of 21, I became a Catholic school teacher. That lasted about a year. I was really restless, and I had this huge urge to break out of my life, and the opportunity to do so came in the form of an international modeling contract, and of all places, to Milan, Italy. It's now the 90s, and all of a sudden, the Latin look is in. And looking Italian was actually an asset. I mean, how crazy. And on top of that, arriving in Italy and the Italians completely embraced me and I fitted in. And suddenly this newly found cultural pride had the opportunity to blossom. To my surprise, after a lot of rejection, I became successful and I worked all over the world, made lots of money. And at some point, I remember thinking, I think I found what I was looking for. But then depression set in, and my inauthenticity had finally caught up with me. You see, the reality was that I had chosen a career that requested me to be inauthentic. My job was to portray an illusion and to sell an image so that others would feel less good about themselves. In the end, the lie got to me and the sparkle began to fade. Charles Martin puts it so beautifully in his quote, "Identity cannot grow out of action until it has taken root in belonging." Soon the magic of music came to rescue me yet again, this time in the form of a music producer. And he introduced me to the world of songwriting and recording. He encouraged me to write down my life's experiences, and then began the unraveling of my inauthentic self in the form of words that eventually went to music to later record and perform. And that felt like magic. A few years later, I find myself in South Africa, and I'm here on a working holiday. And I fall in love with the land, the people, and that diversity that Cape Town offers. Once I became a mother, I became interested in teaching again. And I was asked to do a children's music video with a group of children from Masiphumelele Township. And my job was to teach these children how to sing a bunch of English songs, and including Christmas carols. Now, there was a bit of a language problem, and the children were very shy, and I struggled with trying to get them to feel confident in singing their songs. And I felt I was failing them. And then one day, a couple of the children came up to me and said, "Can we sing you a couple of our songs?" And, well, I wasn't prepared for what happened next. They began singing one of their songs, and my heart completely melted. And I watched these young little bodies just move with perfect rhythm and fluidity as one. And as they stood there, I could see and I felt their cultural pride and their natural sense of belonging. And I realized I'd been asking them to be inauthentic and to deny their own sense of belonging. So I felt rather stupid. Anyway, after that project, I went and developed my own projects, and I taught in Crossroad Townships for a couple of years. And I learned a lot of things, but one of the things I came out of that experience with was that the power of Ubuntu combined with the power of magic, of music in magic, is such a formidable force for creative change. So now I'm at Ellerton Primary School, and I'm with a bunch of grade 7 learners, and they're from disadvantaged schools. They are, when I met them, they had this sense of apathy about them, and it just sat over them like this heavy, wet blanket. And I decided I wanted to see what was hiding underneath that apathy and give it a voice. So the project was that the children had to write an original song. But the one thing I requested, and they were doing this as a class, the one thing I requested was that they chose a topic that they felt very strongly about, that affected their lives, and that they wanted to see change. So we thrashed out a few different ideas, and some of the things they came up with was HIV, gender inequality, gender abuse, child labor, bullying, and eventually they decided on the topic of children wanting or needing to be heard and respected by adults. So I put a camera up in the classroom, and there was a scribe, and they took turns, and the children then would write down their contributions in the form of personal experiences, thoughts or feelings. And as I watched these children, I could see the dynamic of this classroom change, because all of a sudden they're connecting on another level. In the end, it was time for me to collate their material, thread the pieces together, and write the song, put the song together. And then the day came for me to present them their song, and I remember being really nervous. So the children are sitting in the classroom, and they're all sitting in their chairs in a circle, and I hand out their lyrics, and I give them a moment to have a look at their lyrics, and then I press play. Then all of a sudden my classroom turns into a scene from Fame, and we have children jumping off their seats, heading for the center of the classroom. Others were like just wanting to get these words down quickly so they could learn it. And I'm watching this, and it was like goosebump material, and I just felt the magic. So I decided to take all that footage and put it together as a music video and put it onto YouTube so that the children could then share their message with the rest of the world. And when they saw this visual confirmation of their music video, they could see their own transformation. And I knew they felt that magic, as I did when I was 6. But this is their music video.
Deep down in their hearts, there's a song they want to sing. The future has a voice, and they have so much to bring. Anita feels the love in a world that's so confused. Kingsley feels a silence that shouts out for the abused. Here are minds, they are hungry but they are full. And these our hearts have been so strong to rule. Watch our bodies walk a steady line, as our spirit can only climb. Our world is light, watch us shine. Look as he's feeling mad and tired of being ignored. Life is so frustrating and seems it's getting bored. But just feeling strong, 'cause he made a giant leap. I am on us happy
my desire to take this project to other children around the world so they can also discover their authenticity and discover the joy to create their own tools of change. Thank you.